Hi guys. The question of whether this IPEC GOAT timeline is now, I think the answer to that is yes, but just a couple of things that may help um, you guys understand why I think that anyway. Um, Couple of things. Obviously, we've always got wildfires going on the west coast of the United States, California. It's pretty much well known for that. But a couple of things are coinciding at the same time, which is making it seem a little bit more likely that we're looking at this particular time frame. So you've got the house on fire, you've got the shark representing what we believe is the submarine, and they're on either side of George Bush. So you could call this the west coast and you could call this the east coast. At the moment, there are wildfires again raging in California.
We begin this morning with breaking news overnight of several large wildfires burning across the West, compounded by that brutal heat wave. One of the most devastating fires is in the hills above Goleta, California, near Santa Barbara. The fast-moving, wind-driven blaze began last night, destroying at least 20 homes and threatening several other buildings.
More than 2,000 people were forced to evacuate. The fire advanced to about a mile from the business district. Carter Evans is in Goleta. Carter, good morning.
Good morning. When this fire started late last night, it moved through here extremely fast, driven by winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour. You can see this home on fire right now. There is really nothing firefighters can do. We'll tilt up the camera a little bit and you can see.
And this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So you've got, whenever it comes to these wildfires, they're always showing the houses on fire. The houses are always the ones. So, you know, it could be that this is representing the West Coast, maybe California. And then on the other side, you've got the representation of the submarine. At the moment, as I brought the news to you guys in a report before, this was published on July the 3rd, Russian tensions soar as Putin's submarines in the Atlantic. And obviously, the Atlantic is on the east coast of the United States. So, you know, while they're, you know, doing whatever they're doing, ramping up tensions to levels not seen since the Cold War, you've got NATO out there practicing hunting submarines. You've got America has just kind of sent out one of its fiercest warships to patrol the area as well. And obviously you've got the REMPAC exercise going on the other side in the Pacific, where there could also be, you know, submarine threat, maybe from China or North Korea. So there's a lot of things that seem to be coalescing at the same time. Then obviously I already talked about the scene with the 12 children, the 12 boys, it looks like, and how that could be connected to the 12 Thai children which are stuck in a cave, which is flooded. Again, that could be why the rabbit is lit up, suggestion of underground or something cave-like, tunnel-like structure in connection with these 12 figures. They're all blue as well, looking up the medical symptoms of, you know, blue skin, something called cyanosis, which is defined as the bluish or purplish discoloration of the skin or mucous membrane due to the tissues near the skin surface having low oxygen saturation. And obviously the news is well focused on the fact that the oxygen levels in the cave are quite low and getting lower. And obviously if it begins raining again, which it is likely to because it's monsoon season, excuse me, then, you know, oxygen levels could get even lower. They may not actually have blue skin or whatever, but, you know, that could be a representation. Again, I hope they get out alive, and I'm praying for that. The next part that could be simultaneously going on and has, you know, already started back on August the 21st, I believe it was. Yes, August 21st, was the Big Ben stopping at 12 o'clock, frozen at 12 o'clock, which again could be another representation here, a frozen clock tower at 12. I believe Big Ben is the, you know, most popular or most well-known clock tower in the world. So, you know, it's possible it could be related to that. It could be related to another clock tower, but, you know, that's what I think, especially the fact that Big Ben was frozen at 12 o'clock on August the 21st, 2017. and is not expected to be operational again until 2021. So, you know, that could be a connection. It might not be, but again, it just seems, pretty coincidental that with all these other things going on, we have a clock tower that seems to be frozen at 12, and we also have a clock tower in real life that's frozen at 12. So that could be another connection there. And then, we're going more into the scene. Obviously, we talked about other things. Forgot even to mention with the LC scene, the volcano that's erupting in connection with Hawaii. So that's, another thing that's currently unfolding. When we get to the scene with the boy's eyes and what's in them, the first thing we see is uranium, or could be plutonium. There's a lot of EMs out there, so but most likely it's uranium. And obviously you've got North Korea continuing to enrich their uranium. This is after Donald Trump said everyone can sleep well, that the talk on June 12th, the Singapore summit, went really well, and North Korea agreed to denuclearization. It doesn't appear that that was the case. Mike Pompeo then went over there, to get a list of nuclear sites, or to get at least a firmer commitment to denuclearization. He left saying that everything went well and there was progress, but North Korea says the US is making gangster-like demands on denuclearization. This was obviously after Mike Pompeo had left. So North Korea has accused the US of using gangster-like tactics to push it towards nuclear disarmament after a fresh round of high-level talks. It branded the US attitude at the meeting as extremely troubling. The statement by an unnamed foreign ministry official gave a starkly different account from one provided by US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo just hours before. And obviously, if it gets to that point where it seems like North Korea is not playing ball, then the bloody nose strike could be back on, and obviously we know how things can quickly devolve from there. At the same time, you've also got another uranium issue with Iran, possibly about to go fully into developing weapons grade uranium. Iran reopens uranium feedstock plant in preparation to boost enrichment. They've opened this plant, which is idle for 9 years. I've already talked about this, but obviously I'm just showing you guys how there's a lot of things that are going on at the same time, which all seem to possibly be connected to the IPEC Goat video. And then the next thing you see in the boy's eyes as it goes along is markets plunge. That's scrolling across his eyes there. And then after that comes war coverage. But in terms of markets plunge, you've got obviously the trade war. So you've got the trade, the tariffs on China, on the EU, Mexico, Canada, Russia. So there's quite a lot of tariffs going on. Obviously, these aren't just one-way tariffs. There is backlash going on at the moment. The markets are kind of hanging on. They believe that being optimistic in terms of something can be sorted out in terms of a deal. So I didn't see the crash that I was expecting to happen, or at least the plunge that I was expecting to happen. But that's still there, obviously, especially if Donald Trump goes ahead and puts more tariffs on China, because they did retaliate, and he said he would put more tariffs on them if they did retaliate. And then obviously China said that they're not backing down and that they're going to fight this trade war to the bitter end. And the whole purpose of this trade war is to kind of get China to come to the table and create a deal that is more evenly distributed. But that doesn't seem to be happening. So obviously, if another round of tariffs come out, then I think we're going to see a bigger reaction from the markets as they realize that this is not going to be, resolved quickly, and it's going to take some time to resolve. US tariffs on $34 billion of Chinese goods came into effect on Friday. China retaliated. They put 25% on 545 US products that totaled the same amount, 34 billion. Russia, they've introduced some duties on things like road building equipment, products for oil and gas, and tool mining. nothing huge and nothing compared to like China, but obviously when everything adds up from all the different tariffs that are imposed at the moment, you know, it seems like the economy is on a knife's edge, really. And it's just going to really, I think, take another round of tariffs to kind of start pushing it down that hill. And from there, it can obviously start rolling pretty quickly. I think that's everything in connection with this video so far. You know, just having a quick think. Yeah, there's obviously other things to unfold, the things that we've talked about. Not going to go over all of that because there is a lot to cover. But I think just from the wildfires on the west to the submarines in the east, the 12 Thai boys in a cave, you know, hopefully they get out. But, you know, it looks like a dire situation. And who knows what's going to happen in the next coming days. The Big Ben frozen at 12 o'clock, North Korea and Iran both having a situation where uranium is involved, the potential for the stock market with the trade war kind of just starting, you know, and possibly ramping up in the next couple of weeks or days. Who knows, depending on how, you know, Donald Trump feels. If he wants to tweet another round of tariffs, then he'll do that. So yeah, that's it, you guys. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.